So Tour Bahamas, 2007. No, 2008. I think it was 2008. It was in February, that race, right? So we're in 2008.
Early year.
And the reason why I'm going to tell this story is because this is an example of somebody. I had two stories that were going through my mind. An example of me helping somebody, or an example of somebody helping me as a junior. And so that's why I'm going to tell this one, because somebody is helping me. So in that race, in the road race, Tyler Farrar had recognized that I was a super young kid who was in good shape and was really trying to get a good result there. And so when he launched his winning attack, he rolled by me and said, "Come on, kid."
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and
nice.
So as he attacked, I got on his wheel, and that's how I got myself into that winning move. And so that was probably my best race story. Later, Christian Vandeveld, if you watch this, Christian Vandeveld tried to crash me.
Weren't they teammates at the time?
Exactly.
Okay.
So in the breakaway, Tyler Farrar, we got in the breakaway, and then Tyler attacked the breakaway, and then it was me, Christian, and a Rite Aid guy, I forget who it was. And Christian knew I was on the rivet. So going into the bottom of the climb, Christian chopped my wheel in the corner.
Really?
Which is like, dude, he's a badass competitor. You know what I mean? Like,
well, he must have been afraid of you to some degree. I mean, obviously he was top level, but at the same time, I've heard a lot of stories. I've seen a lot of things in my years of racing. I've got over 30, almost 30 years of racing as well, where you'll see a pro put somebody into a mailbox or off the road if they just don't want somebody else there.
So I had to brake at the bottom of the climb as they attacked. And so that opened a gap, and I didn't have the legs to close it. I was just a young 180K race for a 19-year-old. Yeah.
Oh, man.
But whatever, it's all good. But that's that moment of Tyler coming by me and saying, "Hey, let's do this," wanting to see a young guy do well, not being intimidated about losing the race or any of that crap, just wanting to see somebody else do well and get the result that they want. For me, that was really, really special and really cool.
He has a reputation, by the way, of being a really nice guy.
He is.
So chances are, if we reach out to Tyler, and Tyler, if you do watch this this video and want to comment on it, I'd be real curious if you even remember this happening. You know, it's been so long, and chances are you've probably helped out a lot of people along the way. But it would be really cool if you can make a comment. I'll try to reach out to you personally as well and see if I can get you to comment on that.
Thanks, Ty.
Is he retired now? I don't.
I'm not sure. I think he did retire this year.
Yeah, yeah. Sure. What is your craziest crash story?
Craziest crash story? Tour Abitibi, 2006. So, man, Tour Abitibi. Whew. I started biking. My dad took my bike away when I was a junior because I was doing bad in school.
Okay.
And so I went back to Canada. Crazy story. I started biking 6 weeks before Tour of Abitibi after missing a good part of a year.
Now that's a big race. Do you have to be on a team for that?
Yeah.
And be invited?
Yeah, so that's a World Cup.
Yeah.
It's a junior World Cup. And so...
So you were on the Canadian team?
I was on the provincial team. So there's the Canadian team, and then every region in Canada gets a team to go there. So they have British Columbia, Saskatchewan, Ontario, just for example, Quebec. Everybody has their own team. So I was on the Ontario team. Mm-hmm. And it was there's a big gap between the good riders on that team and the not so good riders. Mm-hmm. So I got myself in the breakaway stage 1. I was solo till 500 meters to go. Mm-hmm. I almost won the stage, dude. And then a couple guys just sprinted by me at the line, and I became 4th. I was 4th on the GC. And a good friend of mine, Mark Hinnon, was on the national team, and he really wanted to win that race. So I was really pumped to be in 4th place, but I didn't have the team to support a good GC ranking. And I think it was the next stage was the team time trial, and we dropped half the team.
Okay.
In the team time trial, there was only 2 guys that could stay with me, and you needed 4th, so my GC ranking dropped right after there. Yeah. So my objective was then to try to help Mark, because he had another teammate who was leading the.
But Mark was on a different province.
No, he was on the national team.
Oh, so he wasn't technically on your team, but you were still working for him.
Yeah. So I'd kind of made it a small goal to try to help Mark get in front of his teammate, so that Mark could be the guy who won Abitibi.
Okay.
Because this other guy, his teammate, was leading it. So we got in the breakaway the next day. I killed myself in the crit. We got Mark in the leader's jersey because he wasn't allowed to work.
Wow, God, yeah, that was a little sneaky,
Yeah,
right?
it was the Quebec papers. They wrote about it, and it was,
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, dude, it was a big deal because we took the jersey from his own teammate. But you know, he and I raced together all of our life, and he was my road dog, man. I was gonna get him.
So
in the, you know?
yeah.
So the next day, I had, because of that breakaway, I'd worked myself back into the top 10 in the GC. I was sitting like, I think I was 8th, the 7th or 8th.
Was it his teammate that took you out, that you took the jersey from?
No, so there was just like there was a huge pile up, and it was like a 60-kilometer-an-hour crash, tailwind section, downhill, and I flipped over the handlebars, twisted my coccyx.
Okay.
And so basically, that was so painful. But you know, what's interesting about that crash was there were a lot of teams that were bringing their riders back up to the peloton, and Denise Kelly was the director of my team, and she was the only one who was like, oh, no, it's against the rules to bring you back up. You got to chase back on by yourself.
Huh.
And meanwhile, I'm sitting top 10 in the GC.
What was her issue?
Her issue was she was abiding by the rules. She was the only one that did it. She personally didn't like me. That was the real issue. And she didn't want to see me succeed. I truly believe
she was
that.
going to sacrifice the result
Exactly.
because of a personal issue.
Exactly. And so that's just like another discussion and like the problem with, you know, cycling. And
Well, there are so many people that have stories of politics taking precedence over results or the benefit of the greater good. I've heard a million stories over the years. I've experienced a million things over the years, and yeah, that's definitely something that's probably best off for the next
seriously
thing. But yeah, it's really interesting. There's a lot of that out there. So you went down and twisted your coccyx.
Yeah, and you know,
I'm sorry, I can't say that without laughing. Maybe I'm
word.
immature. Yeah, I don't know, but
yeah, it's all good. But yeah, so I lost 15 minutes that day. And
were you able to get on the bike after? I mean, I would
was
imagine sitting on a saddle.
I was, but after losing 15 minutes and being pissed off, I said to Denise, "I'm not racing again tomorrow." And she goes, "Yeah, you're gonna start. You're gonna start." No, I'm not. 15 minutes down, I'm hurt. If I was still top 10 in the GC and I was hurt, you better believe I was gonna be in that race.
You'll be there.
But the fact that you drove by me and threw me a little wave, race is over.
Yeah, done.
Yeah.
So you own a couple companies and support a couple of companies. You're also an aspiring pro rider yourself.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for somebody who's looking to pick up sponsors?
Sure.
For somebody who's looking to get support in the sport, what advice would you give them?
Yeah, so I mean, this year I'm really lucky. I'm sponsored by so many companies, man. I've really dialed that in. Who are your big sponsors? Why don't you give them a shout out? Yeah, so our core sponsors this year are obviously my company, Bear Composites. We're putting a lot of money up for the team. Garneau is a core sponsor. They're giving us a really creative platform to be able to express our vision, express ourselves through our cycling kits. So that's a really cool relationship we've built with them. Van Dessel gave us bikes. That helped us out a lot. On the personal side, I have Cyclops is a sponsor. They've got a smart trainer. Sponsored by Quark Power Meters. Sponsored by, I just picked up Normatec Recovery Systems.
Oh, nice. Okay.
You know, which is a really, really cool thing to be sponsored by. That's not even it. It's just so bad of me to. Saris, Rax, Braggy headphones. Just picked up Braggy. They make a Bluetooth headphone. I have more sponsors, and if I didn't mention anybody,
We'll
sorry.
put up some stuff in the show notes to give some shout outs to Zack's sponsors. One of the big things about this show, and one of the things that I want to accomplish with the Riders Rep channel, is to teach people how to create their own brand.
Okay.
Obviously, the fact that Zack has this many sponsors and this many people looking to support his cycling means that he knows how to add value for the sponsors. And I want to be able to teach that to you. So if you had any advice that you could give to somebody who's looking to pick up a sponsor, what would you say that is?
Yeah, so how do I word this? I guess what I want to say is, The thing I focus on is what I can do for the sponsor. And being a brand owner, I'll tell you the emails I hate to get are like, hey, my name is Billy. I got third place in Cat.3 last year. I'm just inquiring about a sponsorship opportunity. And, you know, to me, I'm like, okay, that's great that you got third place in Cat.3, Billy, but it doesn't tell me anything about what you want to do for me. You know, and so when I contact a sponsor, it's like, first of all, I pick my own sponsors. You know, I have emails from brands that I just honestly say no thank you to, or don't respond to at all, just because it doesn't identify with what I'm doing. And so I single-handedly pick the companies that I want to work with.
So it sounds like one piece of advice is only approach companies that you believe in the product, or something that you really believe is going to be a good representation of yourself.
Very true.
So that's number one. Be authentic.
Yeah.
With who you approach about sponsorship, for sure.
Yeah, and then the other thing is like, I don't take anything that I don't feel I can add value to. So be very realistic about what you have to offer, and be self-aware of what you can actually do for that brand. A lot of people seeking sponsorship are so completely out there
and willing to take anything.
Yeah, and have no understanding of what the actual value is that they add to the table. You know, and so for me,
so it sounds like just two little things, and if you're paying attention, you're getting gold here. Sounds like another thing that's really important is, if it's not inside your realm, then it's not something that you want to approach. For example, Zack, being a road cyclist, is not going to be approaching companies that specifically focus on mountain biking, looking for sponsorship. That seems like one thing. And the other thing is, understand the value that you bring to the table, so you can present that to these companies when you're looking for help from them. It makes a really big difference if you could tell somebody how your abilities or background can add value for them.
Yeah, I think that's the number one thing, is decide and express how you're going to benefit the company. That's exactly what I do. I say, look, I love your product. I want to use it. This is what I can do for you. Right? And that's the bottom line. This is, if you're interested in having me do this for you, let me know.
Sure.
You know, and nine times out of 10, I mean, just about everybody I contact says yes. I very rarely have a conversation with a marketing person that says no to me.
Sure.
And that's just because the value I add is, you can't even get it in the bike industry unless you can afford Peter Sagan or one of these huge names that cost millions of dollars. You know, you just don't get what I offer. So
the value that you bring to the table in terms of marketing for a company, it sounds like a lot of that is your marketing experience, and also your social media reach.
Yep.
Being strong on social media is huge.
Yeah, it is.
How do you grow your following so that when somebody says to you, you contact the marketing guy at Garneau, for example, and you say, hey, I want you to sponsor us, or would you be willing to sponsor us, and this is what my reach is. Obviously, you have X amount of followers, you have X amount of relationships. How would you advise somebody to build their relationships, their followers, their interactions with people online, so that they do have the ability to connect or have people reach out to them?
Engage in content on the internet. Every platform has their own way of stimulating growth, but speaking like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, you know, engage. There's so many people that don't engage in content. If you see a picture of somebody else's, like it. Like their picture. Comment on their picture. Leave a comment. It could be something silly, just like, yo, good job, man. You know,
sure.
Nice. Like, engagement is rewarded on social media. People don't understand, and I love when people even like leave me hater comments, because
they're still engaged.
That's an engagement.
Yeah.
That helps me grow my channel.
There's a really good video by Gary Vaynerchuk.
I love
Are you familiar with Gary Vaynerchuk?
Huge inspiration for me.
And he talks about $1.80 per day.
Yeah.
Have you seen
Yeah.
this $1.80 per day? And basically the theory is you leave your 2 cents on 90 different photos or 90 different engagement opportunities each day.
Yep.
It takes time. This isn't easy.
No.
And it's not something that happens overnight. And when you see people who are successful like this, like Zack, it may look like it's easy or it's overnight, but that's just because you're not seeing all the hard work that happens in the background. But I am going to post a link to that Gary Vaynerchuk video where he talks about giving your 2 cents to 90 different interactions in a day. And you're going to start seeing builds. Yeah. And you're going to start seeing your following build and your recognition build. And that's a really good way to do that.
Just to give people a perspective, like, my goal at one point was to get 10 followers a day. You know what I mean? And then 20 followers a day. And then 30 followers a day. Like, that's...
And 10 legit followers a day.
Yeah.
Not, I follow you, and then I unfollow you, and 10 legit engaged followers.
Yeah, and that's where it starts. You know? And so, I mean, not on my personal channel, but on our media network, we're approaching 6,000 publications. You know, for me, that's a lot of work, you know? But, like, the crazy thing is we've grown at the same follower rate per post since the beginning. So... The number one key, I mean, aside from like engaging, is put stuff out there.
Sure, a lot of content.
You need the content. If you're not posting, nobody sees you.
What about hashtags? Are you a fan of hashtags?
For sure.
And how do you find a hashtag that's relevant when, say, you're a young rider posting up photos from races? Things like that. How do you find a good post, a good hashtag to post?
Yeah, so generally the events have established their hashtags. They've created their own hashtags. Hashtags are super, super important. You know, you got like your baseline hashtags. You know, the ones that you want to engage with, cycling apparel, the big brands you want to hashtag, because there's constantly people searching those hashtags. So
you can really Google that.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah,
to find the.
Those are good to be on, but you should never post a post without the hashtags that are relevant to that post. That's just free exposure. Definitely, you know, hashtag your posts. Whatever event you're going to, find out what their hashtags are. Hashtag that. Hashtag the city you're in. Hashtag all of the things that somebody might be searching if they're looking for content about that topic.